What's going on, guys? This is Gainz Gaming. Today we are going to be going over Barbarian forts and which commanders to use when rallying them. So first of all, I just want to start with some of the pros and cons of doing Barbarian forts, specifically for low spend and free to play players. So as you can see, when you tap on a fort, I have one right above my city here. So this is a level 4 Barbarian fort. It says your suggested amount of troops is 780,000 T4 units. And so some of the rewards you can get for these Barbarian forts include gems, silver keys, and gold keys. You can also get Books of the Covenant. That is going to be a huge steal for the free-to-play and low-spend players, specifically because of the castle. And the castle is one of the biggest issues when you are trying to unlock T5 units. Because as you guys know, in order to get T5 units, you need a level 25 castle. And the way you upgrade your castle is through Books of the Covenant. And once you do get to the level 25 castle, the Books of the Covenant are basically worthless. You can trade them in for Alliance currency. So if I slide down here, I still have 3,790 Books of the Covenant. And so I can get 150,000 credits. If I turn those in, I'm going to keep them just in case there's any other sort of conversion that gives me more value than Alliance credits. But as you can see, there is a diminishing value once you get your T5 units unlocked because you don't need to upgrade that castle anymore. Furthermore, when you look at the forts, you also get Tomes of Knowledge. And these are going to be great for upgrading your commanders. And so once again, once you get further into the game, these are going to be less relevant for you. As you can see, I have millions and millions of Tomes of Knowledge that I don't need anymore because most of the commanders that I'm using are level 60 already. And one of the other issues that a lot of free-to-play and low-spend players, such as myself, have to deal with are stars. And so I wish you could get stars from Barbarian forts, but those are a lot more rare. And so as you can see in my Ramses here, I need more stars here to unlock the 6th star, and that allows you to take a commander all the way up to level 60. So I have enough XP or experience to unlock level 60 on Ramses, but I do not have the stars to get him there. And I'm also waiting until I have a commander that I want to push to level 60 in my next KVK, specifically Season of Conquest KVK, because all my KVK 2 and 3 commanders are maxed out at level 60, so I don't need to worry about any of those. But the next time I go into a Season of Conquest KVK, I will be investing the stars that I have available in order to push those commanders to level 60 and be able to add more talents to the talent tree. So as you can see here, I don't have all of my talents in the talent tree. When you unlock your level 6 star, you get an additional 10 talent points, plus the additional 10 that you get for per level of upgrading your commander. So once you get your commander to level 60, you will have an additional 20 on top of what you had at level 50. So on Ramses, for example, I am missing 20 talent points that I can put into this commander. And so that could get me all the way up on the top on the archer tree, which would get me up to whistling arrows, or I could get them in the attack tree as well, pushing to last stand. And that is not a recommendation, I just wanted to kind of clarify. When you're at level 50, you don't have as many talent points to put into your commander, and so trying to get these commanders to level 60 is going to be a huge priority for you. So, Barbarian forts are a great value for that, gives you a lot of XP. Finally, it gives you resource packs, and so these are great when you have to mass heal your hospital when you're fighting, if you're short on resources and you don't want to use up your tokens here of food, wood, stone, and gold. As you can see, I have a lot of resources stored up. I try to never dip into my bag here just because I want to save just in case the worst happens and say I get zeroed and I need to mass train troops and need a ton of resources to do that. That's why I keep them available. Plus, I try to farm as many resources as I possibly can between KVKs and during KVKs. So as you can see here, a level 2 resource pack can give you a random amount of resources, so 10,000 food, 10,000 wood, 7,500 stone, or 5,000 gold. I'm going to open up 100 of these just to kind of show you what you would get from, say, 2 or 3 Barbarian forts. And so this would be roughly 300 to 450 action point cost to get 100 or so resource packs depending on the level fort that you're going to rally. So I'm going to hit use here. As you can see, I got 400,000 wood, 270,000 food, 210,000 stone, and 25,000 gold. So not amazing, but it gives you a lot of value in the early game, especially when you're getting into KVK 1 and trying to get as many resources as you can. Barbarian forts are an amazing value for that. So when it comes to commanders when rallying Barbarian forts, even in the Season of Conquest with players that have been playing as long as I have, almost 600 days, people still don't know which commanders to use when they are rallying Barbarian forts. So some of the commanders that you want to be using for these Barbarian forts are going to be peacekeeping commanders. So I'll give you a few that I would recommend using for these Barbarian forts. If you do not have Minamoto unlocked, don't worry, there are still great commanders you can use for destroying these Barbarian forts. And the cool thing is that when you tap rally on a Barbarian fort, you hit rally, it's going to give you a couple of the top commanders that you can use as a primary commander when rallying this fort. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a double C primary with an Ethelfled secondary. And so as you can see here, we have an additional 110% damage to barbarians. That includes Barbarian forts. And so these are the kind of commanders, these peacekeeping commanders are the ones you want to use when rallying these forts. Similar to when you hit a barbarian, when you tap attack on a barbarian and you hit new troops, it's going to give you these peacekeeping commanders that you can use to attack those barbarians. And the other great thing about these peacekeeping commanders, I'll show you in double C here. If you go to talents, you can put your talents into the peacekeeping tree. And so the ones that I would recommend specifically for Barbarian forts are going to be on the top end of these peacekeeping tree. So as you can see, this Killer Instinct skill gives you an additional 9% damage for normal attacks against barbarians and neutral units. That includes Barbarian forts. Similarly, Domination increases your skill damage to these Barbarian forts. And then Mighty Force, when you launch a rally, which is against a Barbarian fort, that is going to increase your attack and all damage to these forts by 9%. Similarly, the Double-Edged Sword increases your damage dealt to barbarians by 15% and increases your healing effects. That's not going to be a huge issue with the Barbarian forts, but that is an additional 15% of damage to these Barbarian forts. So these peacekeeping commanders are the ones that you want to try to rally these Barbarian forts with. Secondly, cavalry are going to be one of the best troop types to rally these Barbarian forts with. Just because you have the double C primary, you have the Minamoto primary, and those are two of the best Barbarian fort rallying commanders in the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch a rally here on this Barbarian fort. I'm going to do a 5-minute rally. I'm going to select my double C primary, my Ethelfled secondary. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to use some T4 cavalry. I'm going to select cavalry on the top so that everybody that joins my rally knows to join my rally with cavalry. If they send archers or infantry or siege, it's not going to do as much damage because double C is a cavalry commander, therefore he does more damage with cavalry units. So I'm going to hit march. That's going to launch my rally. As you can see, it sends it to my alliance here, and so now anybody in my alliance is able to join my rally. And as you can see on the top, we have the unit type that we want people to send. So again, we have cavalry on the top, and then a cool update that they just came out with a little while ago, you can see the type of troops that everyone is sending. So if someone does send siege, archers, or infantry, you can see how much they sent and who sent it, and then you can deal with that accordingly. Usually you would remove them from the rally. And another benefit of Barbarian forts that I did not mention earlier is alliance gifts. So once you defeat a Barbarian fort, everyone in your alliance receives an alliance gift. The way you get that is you click on the alliance tab in the bottom, you go to gifts. As you can see in the normal category, you have the level 5 fort trophy. So as you can see, they expire every 24 hours. And so once your alliance defeats a Barbarian fort, you hit claim here, or you can hit claim all. And so as you can see, I just received emergency action point recovery potion. That gives you 50 action points. And the beauty in that is that you are giving your entire alliance resources, action points, a ton of value that you would not give them if you were only hitting barbarians. That is why I am a strong advocate for always having barbarian forts running in your alliance, because that is going to give everybody in your alliance value. When you are using your action points, you're giving your alliance action points, and you're giving yourself action points too, if you're lucky enough to get an action point recovery. So as you can see, when I go to my action points here, I am running a little bit high. You always want to make sure you are never maxed out on action points, because you want to get as much value as you can. So if you click on the plus here, you can see I have 975 of these emergency action point recovery potions. Those have all come from the alliance gifts. So that comes from everyone in my alliance rallying barbarian forts and helping me get more action points. So like I said, some of the commanders that you want to be using when rallying barbarian forts are the peacekeeping commanders such as Minamoto, Double C, Ethelfled, and some that you do not want to be using, even though they are peacekeeping commanders, would be commanders such as Lohar, Boudica, and Dioshan. So these are commanders that are peacekeeping commanders, but they are not very strong. You do not have a lot of damage to them, and they typically get run down pretty quickly if they do not have enough troops. Some other commanders that people use that I've seen would be a Charles Martel, Richard I. I've seen some people use Constantine. These are commanders that are strong in other areas such as open field play or garrison, but they are not commanders that you should be using to rally barbarian forts, just because they are not equipped to do that task. They are equipped to do other tasks very well, such as Constantine and Charles Martel. They are very strong in the field, very strong in garrisons, but they are not meant to rally barbarian forts or hit barbarians. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe, please like, share with your friends. If you have any other video ideas that you want to see in the future, please comment them down below. I'm looking forward to see you guys in the next video.